bathroom law into law. The bill would require students in public schools to use their restrooms, locker rooms, and shower facilities designated for the gender they were assigned at birth. And any transgender student uncomfortable with this would have to put in a request with his or her school district to use a separate facility. The South Dakota...
That guy. Sorry. That kind of pissed me off there. Sorry, David.
Yeah. It's a bill.
Come on. Like, honestly, you're gonna send say male to female. Like, because I don't think the female to male would have it as bad. I just don't. Like, the male to female transgender person going into a washroom or a locker room in a fucking high school? Are you kidding me? It's a fucking nightmare for them. Like that, like, if you're the normalest person, it's a hard place to fucking navigate. Like, average people get picked on.
Hey Dave, you take your penis out, go into a stall, and try and hit the water.
Change room, Chris.
Well, that adds a little bit of difficulty to it, but I don't know what the hell a change room is. What the fuck is a change room?
Okay, a locker room.
They still have toilets in the fucking locker room, dude. I'm confused.
You could change in the toilet.
I'm confused.
I'm easily confused.
Even to get to the toilet, they're going to be picked on. Even to get to the toilet in a locker room.
Oh yeah, no, I know they're going to get picked on. I'm just
a nightmare.
I'm just picking on you, Dave.
And I refuse to say cisgender. Sorry, I just refuse.
But don't say that they're normal, and because that would indicate that others are abnormal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even a non. Yeah, I'm sorry I said that. I do apologize. Even a non-trans person would have.
Sorry, why do you object to saying cisgender?
I just think call him a guy, a boy. That's why.
Okay.
So biology, like, okay, that's another topic for another show. I'll let you go.
Okay, this is a chunky reading. The South Dakota Senate approved the measure Tuesday, sending it on to the governor after the House okayed it last month. If Governor Dennis Daugaard signs it, it will be the first of such law in the nation. Daugaard said today that he'll meet with representatives of the Center for Equality, an LGBT group, along with other transgender activists and allies as early as Thursday of this week. The Sioux Falls Argus Leader reports. A few hours before Daugaard's spokeswoman Kelly Pritchard announced the governor would meet up with the group, another staff from the governor's office had turned down its request, something Pritchard said was done in error, according to the paper. She also said that Daugaard will meet with some of the bill's sponsors. Daugaard has said last week that he had never met anyone he knew to be transgender, and that he didn't think it would be necessary to meet a trans person before considering the bill. LGBT rights groups praised the governor's turnabout. Quote, anytime you're hoping for someone to see the light or make a change, it's so much easier if you have a face to it, end quote. That was from Ashley Gilbert Gaddis, the Director of Operations for the Center for Equality. Human Rights Campaign president issued a statement saying he hopes that meeting transgender people will lead the governor to veto the bill. Quote, knowledge is power, and we hope that by learning about their experiences, the daily challenges they face, and the damage this bill will inflict on their lives, Governor Daugaard will show true leadership and reject this measure. End quote. Opponents of the bill have pointed out that it would put transgender students at risk for bullying and harassment, and will also put South Dakota schools' federal funding in jeopardy. The Title IX of Education amendments of 1972 banned sex discrimination in public schools receiving federal funds, and the U.S. Department of Education has ruled that sex discrimination includes discrimination based on gender identity.
Can I ask you a question, David?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I know in Canada, they have, I want to not sound like an asshole. I know, like, here, the psychology part of our medical doctors have deemed that being transgendered is not an illness. It's just a subsect of what people are. Is it the same way in the U.S.? Because wouldn't it be a human rights violation at that point?
So I don't know. The DSM has has entries about gender dysphoria, but from what I understand, that the remedy for gender dysphoria is to transition, or to allow a person undergoing gender dysphoria to plot the course of what they want to do to resolve it, whether it be by surgery, whether it be by whatever measures they take. I'm not an expert at this. I'm always weary about transgender things. I'm not a super expert on that. There's way better people out there to speak on that. But clearly what you see here. Sorry?
Not better people, more educated. You're the best, Dave.
Oh, thank you. But
wait, why?
Well, we also know that the Attorney General and the Department of Education has come out and said that discrimination against transgender people equates to sex discrimination, which violates. So that's the government is at least is on the side. So there is a course of action for people who feel their civil rights are being violated. So if we had a different government in play, we'd probably see a different policy, right? So.
How is David the most qualified? You know gay is different from transgendered, right?
No. That's not what I said. He said there's better people, and I said more educated. You're the best.
Well, how the fuck do you know?
He's a good.
Well, that's what I meant. I meant better people who are more knowledgeable about trans issues than me, especially when it comes to the law.
So I have a friend, a mutual acquaintance of all of ours, who has to go through. She was diagnosed with gender dysphoria, and she has to go through like all kinds of ridiculous counseling. Like, are you sure? It's like that damn screen that pops up. Are you sure? And then you click. Yeah. Are you sure you're sure?
Or they screen you like, oh, are you sure you want that abortion? Here, go to a Christian counselor so they could tell you about how your baby's screaming in your womb when you get an abortion.
Have a 5-month waiting period.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just so funny that the adults and the legislators are so preoccupied with bathroom bills, but not concerned about getting kids through high school and getting them through. Like, this is a shitty time for teenagers. Like, high school can be really crappy, just to add this pressure and with all the stuff that they're going through, it's pretty sad, to tack this on. I would be more concerned of getting kids through high school, getting them with the best education possible, and getting them through the system as intact and as well adjusted as possible, and not piling on this bathroom stuff and extra paperwork to use the change room and the washroom.
It can have a real big effect. I have a trans woman in my family, and she didn't transition until her 40s. Because, she grew up, in the 60s in the black projects, and you just weren't trans back then. So it was really tough, but now she has so many mental issues because, she's completely out of her damn mind because she just never had any kind of guidance or nothing.
And this is the government, right? The government enacting laws to make people's lives, young people especially, lives harder. And not instead of easier, instead of increasing access to the education system, making their lives as easy as possible.
Yeah. Go ahead, David. You have help?
Yeah. I have nothing. I have one more story out of Kentucky. So this is sort of vaguely and tangentially related to the Kim Davis stuff. So the Kentucky Senate passed a bill Thursday on the 18th of February to create separate marriage licenses for gay and straight couples. The primary purpose of the legislation was to remove the names of the county clerks from marriage licenses in response to the Kim Davis controversy. The Rowan County clerk removed her name from the licenses after she was jailed. So we're talking about Kim Davis, for refusing to marry gay couples. But the Republican-controlled Senate amended the bill to show their support for traditional marriage, after gay marriage was legalized nationwide in June last year. Former Democratic Governor Sheehan Bashir replaced the words bride and groom on the marriage license forms with the first party and second party. So this is a quote from a Republican. Quite frankly, it's almost disrespectful to the traditional family, unquote, said Republican Senator John Schickel. Quote, that's why wisely we decided to have two forms. That has nothing to do with bigotry, nothing to do with discrimination, It has to do with the vast majority of Kentuckians that respect traditional marriage, end quote. The ACLU, which brought the case against Davis, said the legislature was setting a, quote, dangerous, slippery slope, unquote, precedent by catering to one specific religious belief and privileging that over others. This is a quote from the ACLU. Separate forms for gay and lesbian Kentuckians constitute unequal treatment under the law, unquote, said Michael Aldridge, executive director of the ACLU of Kentucky. Pure and simple, this bill is motivated by the desire to accommodate discrimination against same-sex couples. Now, this bill heads to Democratic House of Representatives. You'll have to see what happens with that piece of legislation. But clearly, it's a separate but equal scenario going on, which you've seen in the history of the United States, right? With drinking fountains,
That was exactly what I was going to reference there, Dave. I mean, it's the exact same thing we saw since slavery was abolished I'm not going to get too fine with the point on it, but at least the 70s, and it probably had the ghost even to today, is that's making someone who wants to marry someone that they love, that's making them second-class citizens, which is just abhorrent, in my opinion.
It would be the equivalent of having like a separate marriage license for interracial couples.
That's what I'm
saying. So you can follow the same logic.
Yeah.
It's kind of tragic that legislatures don't see the history of that. They would still go to that measure of making a separate. Isn't that just baffling?
Not really, because the job of a politician isn't to look at the past; it's to look at the present, because they want to get reelected the next voting cycle. Even though their job really is to look at the past and make correct judgments on the future, but they're not. All politicians look towards the right now. How are my constituents going to take my decision right now, and will it get me reelected?
I mean, you hear a bunch of people saying we want to bring America back to the good old days. Well, the good old days was fucking bullshit for a lot of us. Are you fucking kidding me? You want to bring us back to the 1950s?
Yeah. Or go back to, what, are you going to go back to the Great Depression? When America was awesome?
Oh, yeah.
That must have been fun.
Or I shouldn't even single out America. The world was fucking awesome during the Great Depression.
Alright, fuck it. Let's go back to Nazi Germany and
oh, yeah. Fuck the
some
Jews.
Japanese fucking containment camps. Let's just fucking bring it all back.
Yeah.
Why not? Because that was the good old days, right?
I actually saw a really funny cartoon the other day. You guys might have seen it. Two gay people sitting around a fire. One of them says, I have the paleo diet. All my food is free range, no cage. But yet we still die before the age of 35. What the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Life is rough as shit for them, that's why. It's hard back then. The life is way better now. No people have ever had it as easy as we have. Even though there are some real fuckeries and people that try to oppress people because they're different, that's quotation marks, than them, it's still probably the best time. I would say for sure the best time to live. It's the easiest time. The easiest to get food, But things are getting better. They have to be, right?
Well, they are. By definition, they are. Like, when it comes to the gun debate, and just before I would like to qualify, I do believe in gun regulation. Whenever we see, like, the San Diego or San Bernardino shooting, things like that, that's really an anomaly. If you look at the wider statistics, it's safer to live now than it was 20 years ago. And 20 years ago, it was safer to live then than it was 20 years before that. It's just statistics.
There's more people. You would think that, it's surprising actually how well people I'll use our setting in North America get along with each other. With the sheer amount of people there are on top of each other, considering how
And my previous statement, that's not to denigrate the tragedies that happen nowadays, but, when you look at the, 60,000 foot level, things are a lot better than it was back in the good old days, as you guys were saying.
I agree. I don't know if David agrees, but I agree.
I'll think about it.
You'll think about
it. That's a nuanced statement that you
yeah.
But
he'll think about it. Get back with us. Send us a memo.
Add to this conversation right now. But what I will add is that has been a big game